Welcome everyone. Today is June 7th, 2024, and I am so excited because something is supposed to be happening tomorrow that I've been waiting a month for, actually over a month for. So as long as everything goes well, I will be so happy and so excited, and I will be showing everyone. So this is going to be my before video so you can see the difference. I know this is an eyesore. It is disgusting and horrible and awful. I don't want to look at it, but here's the thing. So I am one person. I also have permanent spine damage from workplace injuries. So yes, I can do almost everything myself, but I do have to also be careful because I don't want to be in the hospital and I refuse surgery. Of course, surgery won't help me. I have already seen a specialist and he's like, no, surgery isn't going to fix your spine. So if you try a surgery or you're told to take a surgery, you'll probably end up being worse. So, and I don't want that anyways. So I try to do things on my own as much as possible, but just at my own pace and, take it easy and be safe. So I don't believe in doing extra things, like extra work if you don't have to. So I try to be efficient when I do things, even if it looks like this. So tomorrow, my dump truck load of manure is supposed to be finally coming, which I've been waiting for. So my garden is going to be a month late. That's a big deal out here. We don't have time to be a month late, but it's better than nothing. So, at least I try. And what I'm going to do is the dump truck is I'm putting plastic over there. That plastic is going to go down over here. I'm going to have it so I thought, what? Just to be on the safe side, I want 2 dump truck loads. The farmer's really nice. He's like, what? If I told him I need 2, but I'll have to get the second one in next month or so. When I can come up with some extra money. It's like, don't worry about it. While we have the truck, I'll just dump it and then just pay me later. Then I don't have to worry about getting the dump truck again. So I have 2 dump truck loads coming. I only had to pay for 1 so far, thank God. But I have 2 dump truck loads of manure coming, and I'm going to have it dumped there. And this is what I'm going to be doing. So this is your before of this horrible eyesore. Now, I will tell you, it's really good for the pollinators. They're loving it because there's a lot of flowering stuff in here. So, it's horrible. I don't want to look at it. But this has been really good for pollinators. There's bees in here, butterflies, all kinds of stuff. And, why go and weed this out every, few weeks if you don't have to? I don't care what people think. It's my house and I have to do the work. So I'm only doing things efficiently. So I am not going to weed this and then come out and have to weed it again. And then come out and have to weed it again. No, thank you. So now that I know my manure is coming, as soon as I see it here on my property, then I'm going to come out here with my 5-gallon bucket and my scissors, and I'm going to start cutting it and putting it in the bucket, nice and simple and easy. And if I can pull the roots out, great. If not, doesn't matter, because what I'm doing is after this is done, which, it's a lot of physical work for bending and stuff. I have to be really careful with that, but I can take my time, and it's not like I'm lifting firewood and stacking logs. So this is something I can do. I just have to take my time. So this is going to all be cut down, and then I'm going to take my black weed shield, and it's going to go on the ground up level with my raised bed here. And then it's going to go across here. So it's going to be all weed shield. And then I'm going to put rows of my 5-gallon buckets. So it'll be like a traditional garden, but just not. So it will have no rows and it'll look like a garden with rows, but it won't be in the ground. It'll be in 5-gallon buckets. So that is what is going here. I have to move all of this cedar wood. This was my leftover wood from when I built this, which is still not finished, but it doesn't have to be. It's fine. It's good enough. It can get finished later. That's what I had left over, and there's not much considering what I need to do. So I've been trying to figure out what's the best way to use this little bit of wood. Since I can't do all the things I want because I need a ton of wood. I haven't used it yet because I'm still thinking, because I have to be efficient. So anyways, it's not going to do me any good to build one raised bed with it. So I have to figure out how I can get the most use out of just this little bit. Anyways, so I have to move that wood and that bit over here. And then this is all brand new siding from when I built that addition, which is basically just an enclosed front porch. It was underneath the porch because I don't have a garage, nowhere to put it. So that got pulled out before I built the raised bed, and it just got put there temporarily. So I have to pick every piece up and move it to the side of the house. Then that'll get this all cleaned up. Then I have to come in here and weed all this out. So again, why weed time after time when you can just do it once? So I'm going to pull and cut out all this stuff, except things that are food that are randomly growing. There's chives in here, and I have to scan more things, but this says onion. Now, this is huge. I didn't plant it, but I did dump all my 5-gallon buckets from last year in here. Some things didn't germinate. That was probably some of it. However, I've never grown onions before, and I was moving the soil around because you're supposed to move the soil away from the bulbs, and I don't see any bulbs. Maybe it just didn't grow any yet, or maybe it might not even be onion. I don't know. The picture this app on my phone said this was onion. So if you know what this is, please let me know and what to do with it. So anyway, there's more growing behind it too. So now this here, this huge thing right here, it's like it's at least 4 feet. It's 4 feet lamb's quarter, again, that I never planted. It just grows. And this thing is huge. So lamb's quarter, that's going to be coming out. All this is coming out unless I think it's food. I'm just going to like shovel it out and put it in a bucket. So I have a lot of work to do, and it goes all the way back. What I did is I was trying to be efficient. So after my garden's all planted and everything's nice, then where my fencing is up here, right here, my lattice, then I'm going to worry about finishing the framing. So actually some of the cedar wood is actually for this. So I have to measure and cut each one, and they're going to put a piece of cedar wood across, like, okay, see right here? Go like this. Cedar wood across all the way down so that I can attach the lattice, and it's nice and neat and organized and beautiful. And then once I have that up, then I have to paint the outside of it. I'm not painting the cedar on the inside of my raised bed, but I am painting the outside to keep it nice. Otherwise it's going to turn like gray. So it's actually starting to turn gray, and this was just built in the fall. So I have cedar stain I'm going to put on the outside. And then on here, on the inside, on the outside facing the house, like facing that way, I'm going to put exterior white paint so it matches with the lattice just on that one side. And then that will be fine. Now, the original plan was to fully enclose this to keep animals and bugs out, but I don't know. It may happen. We'll have to see, because it's a lot of work, especially when you don't have help, and I just don't want to do it. And I just don't want to have to buy more stuff, because I have a lot of things that need to, that cost money. And so I think this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just leave it as is. So I have the fencing up there, so that's actually that's for privacy, but that's going to help. And then I think what I'm going to do is maybe I'll put like a temporary fencing around here where I can just have like zip ties, and I can easily move it when I need to. So I may fence this in, I may not. And then my braces at the top are actually really good because I can use those for tying. Now that's not finished. So what I'm going to be doing is those braces, I'm actually going to take a piece of like a cedar wood 2x4, and I'm going to put it, okay, so it's like this right now, but underneath it I'm going to put one like this right across, and that's going to help brace that up for weight. And then that will allow me to easily put ties, and I don't have to worry about how much weight is pulling on that. So, you know, it's not finished, but it's good enough. I can at least get my garden put in. So for now, I'm just gonna clean all of this out, and then I'm gonna get stuff planted in here. So what I was saying is that when I built this, I try to be efficient, especially with supplies. I don't have supplies to waste, and I ain't got money to waste. So I barely have enough for what I need. So when I buy stuff, I'm usually short. So I have to figure out how to be creative. So I was creative when I built this too, because I didn't have enough for what I really wanted. Anyways, it worked out. So my original intention was privacy fencing, but I also need a raised bed. So how can I get privacy fencing and a raised bed so that I'm getting two things, but I'm only building one structure type thing? So that's why I came up with this. So I have privacy fencing. It's not finished. It'll look nice when it's done. And then I also have a raised bed. And then the plan was to put hanging baskets on each one of these posts with nasturtiums, because them things, I mean, even going into the fall when it's about to snow, they're still looking beautiful. They're an excellent investment instead of flowers. Well, they kind of are flowers, but edible flowers. But they attract a lot of the bugs that would normally eat your garden plants. So they'll go to the nasturtiums because they prefer nasturtiums. And that it just helps. So it's good to have. Plus, they have pretty flowers. And they're very easy to save the seeds for next year. So you don't have to keep buying them. I have to get the hanging baskets and the brackets. So if I can get them, then I will put them up. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. It's not worth my stress. I don't care if it looks like an eyesore. All I need is it to grow food. So, you know, do the best you can with what you got. I don't care what people think. I really don't, because, you know, it's my house and I have to do the work. So, also don't plan on living here too long. So I don't care if the neighbors think. Anyways, so yeah, that was my plan, the flowers. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to come out like maybe a foot, and then maybe just go up like, I don't know, 1 foot, and go all the way across and just put pretty flowers. And that's just to make it look nice from the road. So when you drive by all along here, to look like a really nice, you'll see beautiful flowers, and then you'll see the hanging baskets of flowers. And so it'll be like really nice. But, you know, right now, all I care about is getting my food planted and my food growing. So that may or may not happen. I don't know. But how I was even more frugal and efficient with my wood than I planned is I thought of this. So since I'm already putting all the materials out for the length, it really isn't that much extra to make it double the width, which would give me double the area without double the wood. So I already have the length, no matter how wide it is. And then this side, you already have that, because no matter how wide it is, that length is going to stay the same. So I figured, and I already got this amount of wood that I'm using to make it 4 feet. So really, it's not costing me that much extra wood just to go out an extra 4 feet. I'm only putting extra wood on the end. So, and then, yeah, so like the brace on the top. So I was able to double my raised bed size without doubling the wood. That's why it's 8 feet wide. Is it easy to deal with an 8 foot wide raised bed? No, it's not, but I can do it. So my plan, so all of this is going to be nicely fenced in, but at the end it's going to be like a door. So I'm going to be able to go in there, and then I'll have some cedar wood planks all the way down like a path. So I will be able to come in here and I'll be able to work both raised beds, like harvesting. So that's my plan. And this is how I'm able to get to grow double the amount of food without, you know, building a second structure or using the same amount of wood and all that extra work. So yeah, it was originally supposed to be 4 feet wide, but I need as much space as possible. So 8 feet wide it is. And I think I'm going to be able to grow quite a bit. I don't remember the exact length. Let's see. I think it's 20, is it 24 or 26? I think the whole thing, I thought it was 30 something. So it's between 24 and like 30 feet long, and it's 8 feet wide. So this is mostly going to be my tomatoes, peppers, and then basil in between them. That helps repel bugs. Plus, I can harvest it. It's delicious. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and fill in all the spaces around it with like onions, carrots, whatever I can plant with companion planting, and try and utilize every space. One thing on my list, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do or not, but I did want to I want to come out this way and go all the way down, and I wanted to make this all mosquito repellent plants, all bug repellents, since I want to be on my porch as much as possible. I don't know. Now that's raspberry. It's just, the poor thing, it just wouldn't die. You know, I've tried to pull it out and it just doesn't want to die, so I left it. So that is raspberry. And that thing is now, one little stick is now, well, it was a one little stick in the spring. That thing is just out of control. It's like a bush. So, yeah, I'll probably clean that out, weed it, but I've seen raspberries already growing on here. So I actually might get raspberries. I doubt I'm going to get raspberries off the plants I had in the greenhouse, but I might get some off of this. And bees are loving it. There's bees in there all the time. So yeah, it looks awful, but yeah, you pick and choose your battles. So I didn't plant any of this. Just so you know, this is random. It just grows. This thing is massive, actually, and it flowers. So here's the thing. I am not going to be out here picking all of this and weeding and cleaning it. It's just not going to happen. I'm in enough pain as it is. You wouldn't think so, and people think, oh, you look fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with you. But they haven't seen my MRIs. They don't know what I have to deal with every day. But, you know, you get used to it, and you just, you know, do the best you can, and it's fine. I like to do as much as I can on my own. But all of this stuff, I believe in doing the least amount of work possible but getting the same end result. So really, this here, even though it looks terrible, the bees are loving it, the pollinators. I'm seeing so many monarch butterflies, and I don't usually see monarch butterflies, but bees, pollinators, there's so many out here all the time. They just love it because these plants have a lot of flowers on them, even if you can't see them. And I also have these here are growing like crazy this year. I haven't seen them before out here, but this year it's like the year of the daisies. They're just everywhere. So pollinators are loving it, and it's not hurting anything. Yeah, it looks terrible when you drive by. It kind of looks like a junkyard house, but I really don't care. It's my house and I have to do the work. The end result is get the house fixed up to be put up for sale, hopefully by the fall. That's my goal. May or may not happen. I really need it to happen. So really, the end result is I need it to look as beautiful as possible just before I put it up for sale. So does it matter if it looks like this right now? Absolutely not. Why make extra work for myself? Don't need to do that. So what I'm going to do is when it gets closer to the time when the house is fixed up enough and I can get it up for sale, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to cut all this down, pull out whatever roots I can. And then I found a really good recipe that apparently works great, and it doesn't really have any, the only chemical is a little dish soap, but I have to look it up. I think it was salt, I think some vinegar and dish soap, I don't remember. Anyways, you just put it in one of those big pressure sprayer things, and you go over your whole area of gravel and spray it, and it literally kills everything, but it's not really toxic other than a little bit of dish soap, but everything else is fine. So that is what I'm going to do. I am just going to deal with this one time, and that's it. So I'm going to do it right before I put the house up for sale, so it's fresh, it's beautiful, it looks new, and I'm going to focus my energy and all my work on getting this cleaned up, getting this done. Look at this lamb's quarter. I mean, it's like 4 feet tall, and I never planted any of that. It's everywhere out here. So that's got to get cleaned. And then there's some more lamb's quarter A lot of flowering stuff in here too, and the pollinators love it. So this is the before, and I'll show you real quick my poor plants that are hanging on for dear life. So you can also see the before of my plants and what's left of them. Keep in mind, this is July 7th. This stuff I should have had planted like second week of June. So, I mean, I'm trying, and they're trying, so they're okay. Portulaca is a really awesome flowering plant. You don't eat it, it's just for show. But this here is one of my top favorites for like, oh, there's a bee. Oh my gosh. Or it was a wasp. I don't know the difference up close. When you see something flying around, you don't really try to figure out if it's a bee or a wasp. You just know it stings. So anyways, this here puts out multicolored flowers, and as they die, it just puts out new flowers. Extremely hardy. It says annual. I had this before I moved. I was in grow zone 7 in most southern part of Canada, and it came back every year. So I got seed and I'm growing this again. But you know, there's my pepperoncini pepper from the survival seeds. Beautiful. Some people's didn't grow, but mine is beautiful. And here's the other 2 pepperoncinis right here. They're hanging on. They still actually look pretty good. So I got just a bunch of stuff that's hanging on or trying to hang on. Now, I will say that I'm not really worried about my poor tomato plants that are looking really sad, but sad and pitiful. Like, look at these poor things. They're trying, and I keep them well watered, and they don't get direct sunlight because I don't think they can handle it right now. But they do get a lot of light. So thing with tomatoes, why I'm not worrying too much, actually, so I'm going to use some more water, is that once I plant my tomatoes, as soon as they start growing, you know, you're going to get a whole bunch of stems, like in leaves, like stems that don't really matter, and you can pick them off, like suckers and stuff like that. So what my plan is that once they get in the ground, I'm actually going to take not a whole bunch, but I'm going to take some of these leaves off, and I'm going to plant these in the ground as deep as I can. I'm going to show you in just a second. I just want to get a little water here. But I'm going to plant these as deep as I can so that they can grow really big. And I feel that once they start to grow, because they're in the 5-gallon buckets, then all the nice, beautiful green shoots are going to come out. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. Okay, they just look so sad. I don't think they could have waited 5 minutes. So, oh my gosh, look at this. I already have a tomatillo that is blossoming, so that's got to come off. Oh my goodness, you're not ready to have little babies. No, gotta pick that. So what my plan is like this here, okay? See this tomato? This one right here is a Amish paste tomato. So this here, what I'm going to do is I've been picking the like dead leaves off. I'm going to plant it up to here. And I think if I plant it up to here, then this is all going to start to grow roots. It's going to get much healthier and stronger. And then this here is going to start to grow. And when this grows, it's going to be all the green, beautiful new shoots and leaves. So even though my poor tomatoes are struggling for dear life, I think they're going to be okay. And as they start to really grow, then that's when I could pick off, you know, the leaves that look pretty cruddy. And it's not going to hurt the plant because they're going to have so many other leaves. So I think I'm going to be able to salvage tomatoes. And another thing, I don't have time to start growing new tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is, as they start to grow, it's okay to pick stuff off, because if I start picking stuff off, I may actually kill my tomato plant. So I'm going to put these in the manure in the 5-gallon buckets, give them time to grow and really take off and sprout. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and pick off like say something like this, but something that looks really healthy and green, I'll just take one of these stems off, or even a sucker, and I'll put it in some water for a bit, let it really hydrate, and maybe even start to grow some root. And then I'll plant it in a 5-gallon bucket of its own, and it will actually start to produce roots and take root. So I'm going to be able to just use my suckers or any clippings that I take off my tomato plants to grow more tomato plants without having to start from seed. Because if I start from seed, look how long it's going to take for it to get to a nice stem with leaves on it. But if I wait maybe a week or 2 weeks and let these take off and grow, I can just pick off that, put it in the ground, and it will start growing roots and produce its own plant. So that's how I'm planning on saving my garden, is getting more plants from doing that for like tomatoes. Now my Mariana tomatoes, those poor things, they died. Well, a lot didn't germinate, and the ones that did, I don't know, they just didn't make it. But I found a pack of seeds I forgot I had because I didn't even know I bought them. Never heard of Mariana tomatoes, but I did have some. So about, 2 weeks ago, I put some in this, and look at them. These things are taking off. They are absolutely gorgeous, and they are having fun. This year I have to pick out because there's a lot of stuff in here that shouldn't be, but I don't actually remember what I put in here. I don't remember. I have the packets in the house, but I think I have something good growing there. Now, this I know is Mariana tomatoes. Not sure what this one is, but I can tell you, okay, once I weed out all this stuff, then whatever's growing, this one here is jalapeno peppers. I think some of them are growing. So some of this is weed grass, and then some, I actually think so. I think right here, I think is one. I think I have one here, that one. So I think I have jalapenos growing. I don't like jalapenos. I don't like heat, but I like flavor. So these are going in salsa, but it will be a very mild salsa. No seeds. And this is cayenne pepper, but, oh, I just killed a mosquito. Want to see it? Right there. Can't bite me no more. So, I'm not really seeing anything in here, but if I do get anything that's cayenne, that is just so that I can grow my own spice for my health. So I'm hoping that takes root. This, I thought it was spearmint, but I might have planted my peppermint. I don't remember. So if it grows, great, but I have a hard time getting that to grow, and it's already July, and I just did that like 2 weeks ago. This here is the grape tree that I bought. I mean, it's holding on. I am actually, if I don't get grapes, that's fine. I probably won't get grapes this year, but this is one of the reasons why I really wanted to make sure I at least got a fresh grape plant, is because apparently if you plant grape leaves, I don't know what kind, I just assume a grape leaf's a grape leaf, so, well, I'll experiment. But if you pack a grape leaf in your canning jars when you can pickles, it's supposed to help keep them crisper. So there is some good benefits to grape leaves when you're canning things. This one here, I think, is my sweet yellow banana pepper. I believe that's what that one is. This poor thing, I mean, it's not zucchini. It actually had a zucchini right here. Wait, where'd it go? I think I threw it away. But it actually had a zucchini growing on it that I just picked off. And it's got all kinds of, it's trying to flower and everything. So I think a lot of these I'm actually just gonna scrap because it's not worth taking up the soil space in the buckets. I think I'm going to scrap those, and I'm just going to start from scratch, because zucchini and any kind of those zucchini and pumpkin seeds, they germinate very quickly in my experience, the way I do it, very quickly. So I think I'm going to get a healthier overall plant if I just start from scratch. So I'll probably scrap those. I got some eggplant there. So, you can see, I mean, I keep picking flowers off. These things want to produce so many flowers. I got to keep picking them off. This is rhubarb. It's the only one I have. did try and grow some from seed, and they actually do seem to be doing very well. Those are going to get 5-gallon buckets, but I wanted one that was more mature so I could get something to harvest sooner. And this one is hanging on for dear life. That is or gooseberry that I got this year. I mean, not good. So I'm going to give this a nice pruning when I put it in the bucket with the manure, and I'll just show you the few other plants that I have so you can see a good before, and then you can compare that to the after when it's all beautiful and thriving. This is my peace rose. I spent like 15 years trying to find it. A neighbor that I used to have that was really nice, good people, they've passed away now, but they had this in their yard and I loved it, and he was never able to clone it. It was never successful, and this is the most beautiful smelling rose I've ever smelled in my, oh my gosh, it has blooms. But it is the most amazing smell I've ever smelled in my life. Well, okay, bayberry, I love bayberry, but this is just, I can't even describe how amazing this smells. So I'm hoping this is the same one, because he told me that was the peace rose that he had. So I'm hoping, because, you know, my hopes and dreams are on this being the right rose that I've tried to find for 15 years. So that's got to get planted. But, you know, some of these I think might be okay, but they're hanging on. This here is a giant dahlia zinnia. Just one. Grew it from seed. And, okay, this was in my pot for strawberries where I put my strawberry runners, but it does not look like a strawberry. So I picked out my little marker here, and it says lemon catnip. I didn't plant lemon catnip this year, so I must have planted that last year. And it looks like I got 3 or 4 plants. So I'm gonna separate this. This is supposed to be really good for bug repellents, especially mosquitoes. They don't like lemon, and so they don't like catnip either. So, and I can harvest it because I have cats and they love catnip. This is my poor little basils that are hanging on for dear life and turning yellow, and I keep picking leaves off. I even picked the tops off because I think my holy basils were going to flower, and they're just in the baby little seeds or seed trays. So I think I can salvage my holy basil over here. As soon as it gets in that pot tomorrow, I think it's going to take off. So and I can keep taking clippings and start getting more growing. And herb plants I'm going to be bringing inside for the winter. I'll probably put them in the sunroom. I mean, there's no heat in there, but I could always put like a electric fireplace on low, because I want to try and make as many of my plants a perennial as possible. So I want to, hopefully my herbs are all I'll make sure they make it over winter. These are my Genovese basil on this side. So, you know, I think they'll be okay. Now, here is a way that I've saved money, but over time I'm going to save a whole lot of money. And I highly recommend people doing this. If you're on a tight budget, maybe you can only buy 1 fruit plant or 2, or maybe you're just looking for a good investment on something that you can really build your food forest in. So I bought strawberry plants last year. Do I want to pay $14? Absolutely not. That is not in my budget. I need that $14. But what I do is, I'm going to show you the one I just got so you have an idea of what I did, because I want everyone to do this. I mean, you're going to just make a huge amount of food for yourself if you do this. So I bought this year because I didn't have this kind. Now, these runners, so I want to show you what I did. So as soon as I start to see any kind of roots on these runners, what I do is starting to grow root. So what I do is I just cut it off, and then I take just this bottom part. Okay, just this little bottom part here. You see that bottom part? I just plant just this little bottom part in the soil, just this. In the soil, that's it. And then the rest I leave above the soil. And if you get strawberries that year, that's great. But, you know, probably you won't, because it's building its roots. So what happened is I did that for a whole bunch last year. There's bugs out here. So I did that last year, and this is one of the runners I took from last year. Look at this. This was last year's. I mean, can you see it has strawberries already growing there? I mean, there's a whole bunch growing here. So this is already trying to grow. Oh, there's another one. So this is already just absolutely gorgeous. Look how dark green it is. It's beautiful. So, you know, $14 for a plant, but look how many plants that you can grow from that $14 plant. Yeah, it may take, you know, 1 year before you're actually going to see strawberries, but it's a great investment. The one strawberry plant, okay, a lot of them die, but they, you know, if you overwinter them properly, they'll be fine. But I mean, off one strawberry plant, I was getting more runners than I could keep up with. So it is an amazing investment if you're looking to stretch your money or get the most for your money. Plus, they're so delicious. So, oh, so see it picked off. So, Detroit red beets, you know, they're hanging on. They're doing okay. You know, it's not good, but you know, my rhubarb seems to be doing very well. My lemon balm out of this whole tray, I mean, I at least got that. Doesn't look that great. It's turning yellow, but you know, it's still alive. So once this gets put in the 5-gallon buckets, I think it'll be okay. Because once it starts to grow and thrive, I can pick off all the cruddy looking leaves and it'll be fine. And then this is a nice one there. So they're okay. Now this here, look at my rhubarb. I grew these from seed. Aren't they beautiful? These are hanging on well. Another one there. So this here is my sea buckthorn that I grew from seed. I did not follow the instructions. I was not gonna wait like 4 to 6 months to get it to germinate. Or no, it was more than that. It was like 120 days for one germination because you had to put it in like the fridge and cold stratify. Then you have to germinate. I just did it my own way in a paper towel method, and within 2 weeks it was sprouting. So I think they've done well. I actually have a bunch of these that are doing very well. So these are the plants that I have left that haven't completely died, and they're hanging on. They got their new homecoming tomorrow, but I think some of these I'll probably just scrap and start from scratch. So this is my before video, and I'm going to show you my after video as soon as my manure comes and I get all this cleaned up. I get my weed shield down, yeah, everything in 5-gallon buckets. It's all beautiful and gorgeous. So this is the pre-video, and I'm so excited to be able to show you the after. So stay tuned, keep an eye out, and hopefully you will be amazed, because that's my goal. I want to amaze myself. Be like, oh my goodness, look how beautiful this is. And so for all the people who are having garden issues, please don't be discouraged. Just, you know, do the best you can with what you got. And, you know, let's say things don't work out or stuff dies or it gets, you know, the sun kills it because it's too hot. If you have tomato plants and you have at least like one stem that's doing good, you can take that off, plant it in the soil, and you can salvage that, even if the rest of the plant dies. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. So if you have to deal with crap like this, where it looks terrible, and you know, you've got a late start on your garden, or maybe you got your garden put in on time and everything's thriving, and then you have weather, hurricane winds, high heat, and it just kills everything. You know, we all have different issues that, you know, affect our garden and our food and our security. So, you know, if you get really discouraged, like, oh, it's too late to plant stuff. No, it's not too late. You just have to be creative. So do the best you can. And one of the reasons I love my 5-gallon buckets, even though I prefer to have my stuff in the ground, because I can move them. So when the frost date comes, my plan is to take all the plants that I think I can extend their growing season, like say tomatoes and peppers and stuff. I wouldn't say I'm going to be moving pumpkins and cucumber plants, but you know, for tomatoes and peppers and stuff, you could just slide it on a dolly and I could wheel it into my greenhouse and I could just put it in there and try and extend the season so that it's out of the frost, it's out of the cold, and there's options. So yeah, I'm a month late getting my garden in, but it's better than nothing. And there's ways that, you could kind of help fix your problems. So another thing I was thinking is, I don't know what I'm going to be able to get moved in there, but when I put in the black weed shield down here, all my 5-gallon buckets are going here. So I'm going to come out with a bucket and scissors. I'm only doing work one time. That's it. So, if I got to weed all this, it's going to be one time. And it's going to be right before I put the buckets down. So I'm going to cut all this with scissors, put it in a bucket, dump it in the raised bed for compost, then put manure on top. This will be black weed shield. And then I'm going to have rows of my 5-gallon bucket. So like an above ground garden. And then when it comes time for, it's like getting cold. Well, one thing I could do by then, if I have a little extra money, is I could just build a basic wooden frame around here and on a slope, and then just put some like posts and like just temporary framing along the back, and with a slanted, beams across the top for like a roof, and cover it in plastic. And if I can extend my growing season by another month, well, then that makes up for the 1 month that I was behind. And actually it might even be better because the plants will already be established, so they may actually do better having an extra month at the end. So anyways, I just hope people stay encouraged and be creative. So if you have garden problems, it could be this, or it could just be anything. Just try to find a way to make it work. So even if, like I said, if you just have one little stem on your tomato plant that's still alive and doing well, take it off and plant it and grow yourself a new plant. So it's not too late. I mean, at least here, I feel like it's too late, but it's really not. So wherever you're at, it's probably a lot better than here. And you've probably got a whole lot more time left in your growing season. So just try and, make the best of what you got to work with. Some people, you may only have a few 5-gallon buckets. So, do the best with what you got. And I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with how much space you have. If you have a patio on an apartment building, I'm 100% positive that you are going to be able to grow a whole lot more food than most of the people in the city. Because I will tell you that most of the people in the city, at least where I'm from, they can't be bothered. Some people might put one tomato plant in their backyard, but for the most part, people get so accustomed to, just being in the system. There's different systems. You have the work system where you're programmed. You have to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and overtime if you can work overtime. Weekends, if you can work a weekend shift, you take it because it's money. Or, you spend your weekends just doing all the things you couldn't do during the week. People can't be bothered with growing food and canning or any of that kind of stuff. They're just in that system of you work and then you pay for things. So you go to work and you work for somebody else, making them money and building their business. But your business, which is your home and your family and, your everything you own, that's your business. Instead of building that, you're building someone else's business, and then you're left just paying for things. And, it's sad, but sometimes there's a lot of people that just don't see anything wrong with that, and they prefer to just go to the store and buy stuff and not bother. So if you think, well, I only have a little patio or I only have this little space, well, you're probably going to be growing a whole lot more food than most of the people in the city, because a lot of them can't be bothered and they have space. Just because you have space, it doesn't really mean much. So yeah, it's great. The more space you have, the more opportunity you have to grow things, but you can grow a whole lot in tiny space. And you can actually, many people who have these small spaces can be in much better health than the people who have like 100 acres. Because, it's all about what you're growing, what you're eating, and what your mindset is. So if you make that a priority to just do the best you have with what you got, you may actually surprise yourself. So I want everyone to just not be discouraged. So be encouraged and just try and grow at least something, just anything. And, if your dreams are to have your own property, if you don't already, there's a lot of things you can do to just prepare for that. So a lot of people, I see this problem all the time. They wait until they can buy their home with property and then they want to learn everything. Well, the time you're spending learning stuff is time that's taken away from doing things. So if you are working really hard to try and get property, well, take the opportunity now that you have time, that you're not out working your land and growing stuff, to learn. So what I did before, for many years before I had my own property, is I spent a lot of time on YouTube, on the internet, just learning about all the different things I can grow, how to grow them, how to harvest them. Some plants, they only need like 50 some days to grow. Some need 120. So learn all of these things. Figure out, what is it I want to grow when I have my property? What do I need to know about growing? What do I need to know about soil? All that kind of stuff. And then, natural fertilizers like manure. What kind do you want to use? What do you need to know about it? And what are the things that you should not use it on? So learn about all that stuff, so that, and just about everything, all canning, everything. Just learn all the stuff that you want to learn, so then when things work out and you can finally have that property that you want, or have some land, then you've got all that knowledge, or even books. Buy books and you've got it. And then when you move to your land, you can focus on getting started. Start getting your gardens in. You already know what you're doing. You've already got your seeds. If okay, well, I bought a property, I can move in 90 days, but I'm not going to be able to put a garden in because it's end of season. Okay, we'll start thinking about next season. So start buying your seeds now and figuring out everything you need to know about those seeds, and how to harvest, and what canning recipes you're going to use, and start stocking up on your canning jars, or whatever it is you're doing. Freezer bags, if you're going to freeze everything. Get your those get a vacuum sealer, stock up on bags, all that stuff. So there's so much that you can do, even if you're not able to get out and have your garden. You can start preparing for the garden you're going to have in the future. So I want everyone to just try and be as positive as you can, no matter what you have to deal with, because just because you have property doesn't mean everything's great and wonderful. Doesn't even mean you're going to get a harvest anything, or it doesn't mean you're going to get anything in the ground. So for all the people that have small spaces and apartments, just be encouraged and know that you're probably going to be better off than a whole bunch of people that have property. So just take advantage of that small balcony you have and challenge yourself. How much can I grow in this space if I'm really careful and efficient? So that's all I have for today. I just really want people to see that just because you have property doesn't mean everything's wonderful. I have 13 acres. Can I use it? No. I have no tractor. I have no equipment. I don't even have wood for raised beds. So I have 13 acres, but I'm telling you that the amount of space that I am using for my garden is probably smaller than most people's property who live in the city. You live in the city in a little subdivision, you probably have more land in your backyard than what I'm using for my garden. I'm using this and that. That's all I have this year, because I have to do the best I can with what I have. I have only a certain amount of 5-gallon buckets, and I have that. And what's the equivalent of space? It's really not that much. But I'm challenging myself to be as creative as possible and grow as much as I can in this little space. So, I want people to stop focusing on, I don't have like the property. I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, do you have a little backyard? Is it this big? Because I will show you what you can grow in this space and in that space. And it's probably a whole lot smaller than your backyard. So don't keep focusing on how much property and how much land, and you have to, need a rototiller, and you need this, you need that. No, get yourself some buckets. If you can get manure, great. If not, get some soil at the store or wherever. But, I will tell you, if you don't really have any property to use, but you have a driveway and you don't need the back of it, you can spare some space, there you go. If that's the back of your driveway, 5-gallon buckets. and you can grow at the back of your driveway. So I challenge everyone to show me what you can grow in a very tiny bit of space, so people can see that it doesn't matter if you have a large space, a small space. You just do the best you can with what you got. And I want everyone to at least try, just try, and see how exciting it is when you eat a tomato that is fresh off the vine. I will tell you, I have never in my life had a tomato at the store that tastes anything like a fresh tomato off the vine, or a cucumber. The smell. There is no smell at that grocery store that smells like a cucumber you've just picked off the vine. So I challenge you, even if it's just 1 or 2 plants, just do something and show everyone. Be like, look what I was able to grow in this tiny little space. So that's all I have for today. Oh, it's nice and cool up, but it's so muggy. So I'm gonna go in the house, get some water, and get ready for tomorrow, because oh good gracious, I have a big day with 2 dump trucks of manure coming and this. So I will see you on the next video, and I will show you what I was able to do. So this will no longer be here, and I will see you on the next one.